I've been thinking about it for a while, and today we're going to make a passport. Some of the things that you will need is a cover for the passport and some inside pages. And for the cover, you can use cardstock, which is what I used. I used this Paper Studio, which is from Hobby Lobby, and I chose this darkest color, that color. But you don't have to use cardstock. If you want to just go true junk journal style, you could use a cover off of a planner. This planner has a dark cover with a design in it, which my original passport did not have a design on it. It was just plain navy blue. But that doesn't really matter. And on the inside, it's got this bright aqua color, which also doesn't matter. You can either just go with that would be fine, or you can glue something over it. And other options include, this is the little book I bought at Dollar Tree, and it has white pages in it. But this back, you could use that. That's about the right size. You need a 5 by 7, more or less. It doesn't have to be exact, but 5 by 7 that's about the right size. So you could fold that in half, and that would be the right size for a passport cover. This is a high school graduation program, and it's got a nice navy blue cover that doesn't have anything on this side of it. And I think it would be, yes, you could get it on there without any problem, so that would work. This is just a manila mailing envelope that I've had around for a long time, and that would work for a cover, and it certainly would fit. This is wallpaper, and although this is kind of a funky design, you could still use it, and it's white on the back and at the bottom and the top. So if you wanted to use that, you could do that and have that for your passport cover. Or there are lots of designs of wallpaper. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want to do. U.S. passports had, I don't know what they have now, but they had navy blue covers on them. So a dark color would be traditional, but it's a junk journal, and it's your interpretation of a passport. So you can make it whatever you want it to be. And that's part of the fun of it. And then for inside sheets, this is pages out of this book, and that's what I used for my inside pages to make my passport. And it turns out this paper is a little bit thin for stamping on it, so something more like sketchbook paper or stationery coffee dyed paper or laser printer paper would be fine. A heavy, fairly heavy weighted that. You don't want it too thick, or your book will be too thick. And you need 6 sheets of that to make a 24-page booklet, plus the cover. And then I used a piece of ledger paper for the inside cover because I wanted to have that be light and not dark on the inside. So those are basically the things you need. Then other things that you might need to have are some stamps. I used some of these. This is a Kathy Holden numbers and signatures. This has a postage stamp, some postage stamps and things in it. This has some scripts. This one has some various forms. Same thing here. I used this recorded stamp, that one piece out of this set. And I mentioned these in the video. And then this little stamp and some of this one that says Visa on it. I used it quite a bit. But any of these kinds of stamps would work on the inside. And then whatever colors of stamping ink that you want. I also added these 2 stamps, the fleur-de-lis and the crown for France and England, because that's where I have my guy go. And also postage stamps, just to add a little color to the inside. So those are the supplies that I used. I've done some preliminary work here on some of these things. We'll start with talking about the cover here. I did this stamp on the front with this Folk Art metallic royal gold paint, acrylic paint. And what I did is I just spread some of the paint out here on this mat, this plastic mat I have, and brushed it out pretty thin, and took this stamp, which is a Hip Stamp Hooray package. I got it at Hobby Lobby some time ago, so I'm not sure if they still have them or not. But it's this stamp, and I've used archival ink on it before, and so now it's pretty stained up. But this is what it looks like on there. It's a post office stamp. When I did it with the paint, I put the stamp on a block, had the paint spread out even here, and I just kind of dipped it in there a couple of times. Pretend like I don't want to get into that right now. And then I just pressed it down and held it for a little bit, few seconds, several seconds, and lifted it up. And although you really can't read that it says post office, for my purpose, that's good here. And that's how I got the gold on there. Now, if you had embossing powder and gold and the heat gun and the supplies you need to do that, you could just emboss that with that method. I want to put passport up here. So I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do for that. But this right now is where it is. And then on the inside, I have this paper that I'm going to put on the inside, and it's slightly shorter. So I decided having a little gold strip across there would be a nice touch on that. So I'm going to do that and glue that down. But first, I want to stamp something on this page right here. And I'm going to get out my felt to stamp on. And this is basically what I'm going to put there. I'm kind of basing this off of what my expired passport had on it, and it had some information on here about who to contact if I were to get sick or die. I decided I didn't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these stamps that just is kind of vague about what it is, and put that on there. And also this recorded from this stamp set. It's this stamp right here. It's just a box. And this is M Incorporated. It's American Crafts. And I got it at Joann Fabrics some time ago. I think they were clearing it out. So I don't know if any of these stamps are still available or not. Some of them may be. That one I'm not so sure about. Oh, and I want to use this stamp. This stamp is that one. It just has a seal and some signatures on it. I thought that would make it look official. So that is what we'll start with on there. I stamped that with ground espresso, distress oxide ink, stamping ink. And I think I'm going to use that again. I kind of like the way the brown looks on there. So not all of the words on this will be in brown, of course, but some of them will be. So we'll do this. And this is on a little ledger page that I got at a thrift store. It was a package, and they're all this size. I don't really know. Maybe some ledger books are that size. I guess that's the way it was supposed to be, or it was replacement refills for it. Oh, and I meant to mention this paper is a piece of cardstock from this package, which is a Paper Studio product. I just wanted something that was solid color and dark, at least when I had my passport, and it's years out of date. The cover was navy blue color, and I don't know if there's still that color or not, but you could use anything to make your cover for it that you wanted to use. It's up to you what you put on it. And I kind of didn't want it to be exactly like a passport would be, but I think they're different now anyway than mine is. And sometimes I think you just get a card that has some information on a, what do they call those, chip in it. So I'm going to put this here. This is just some writing. I don't even know what it says. It could say anything. I think it's just faux. But I thought it would look official there. And then the other one is this one. The passport number on mine is put on there with little holes across the top of it and on several pages, but I'm not going to even try to do that. So I'm just going to use this right here as the passport number. And I have some numbers over here that I'm going to use. These numbers are Kathy Holden. Flea Market Finds is what it's called. I'm going to use this script that says NO period to put that on there. And I'm just ignoring this stuff that's on there behind that. I found I get better stamps if I press it in place for a little bit. Doesn't have to be a real long time, but just long enough for the ink to grab. And I chose that number. It's 980-532. It doesn't matter. It could have been this number. I think the actual United States passport numbers have a letter at the beginning of them. Okay, we'll just put that right in here. And I think I can cover up that where it says items with the number. Okay, there we go. That page is done. This back page in the book has some general information on there, and I may do another stamp on that. I think right now I'm just going to go ahead and glue this to the inside of the book, and I can stamp something on there later if I decide to do that. And on the inside, since my page is slightly smaller than that, and that was just the way it turned out, I decided it'd be nice to have the gold on the edge of the blue. And I'm using this Deco Color Premium from Walmart. It's the color, I think it's just gold. I'm not sure. Packages here. Rich goldy finish. So I don't know if that's the actual color it is or not. But anyway, that's the package. They are still selling these as far as I know. I am going to glue this down to that. Get a glue page. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue around the edge of this, maybe some Fabri-Tac, just so that the edges don't pop up. Okay. Put a little bit in the center there. That's vegan Fabri-Tac. And this is Craft Bond Extra Strength Glue Stick, Elmer's brand. Make sure I have it right side up. And when I checked, it needs to go all the way up to the edge on this side. I'm going to put that right like that. That looks about even top to bottom. Go across and take my card. A little glue there. I just want to crease that fold a little bit there. And then this edge is going to need to be trimmed just a bit. And it's going to be used, so it will have spots and stains on it. I'm doing this to go in a journal that I found this cover. I'll just show you the cover. Uncle Rip Pays a Visit. It's a children's book, and all that I had of it was the front and back cover and some scraps of the spine, which was only about that wide originally. So I would have wanted to make a bigger spine in it anyway. This book, I looked it up on eBay, and it's from the 1920s. The first edition was 1920s. This picture has nothing to do with the story and the illustrations that are in the book. They're completely, this is more Victorian looking, and the illustrations are more 20s like illustrations. And then this has nothing to do with it either. I don't know what that's about, but that's the original inside cover, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I decided to keep it. I want to get some metal corners to go on it. But anyway, that's a visit from Uncle Rip. So this is going to be Uncle Rip's passport. I'm going to use my scissors and just trim this up against this edge here. Hopefully I can do this without making a mess. Okay. Looks like I got a little gold on there. I guess I'm just messy. Just admit to it. It's a mess. I may put some splatters on it after a bit too, just to make it look old and authentic. I hope I got it straight on there. I don't know if I did or not, but anyway, I'm not a machine. I'm a person, so allowed to make mistakes, right? Okay, that's the cover as it stands right now. And then on the inside, I did pages. The pages in my passport, I keep saying my passport because I think they're different now. In fact, they even use just cards, like I said. So I don't know. This is Uncle Rip's passport is going to be from the 1920s. And I typed this up yesterday off of patterned on what's on mine somewhat. And I have his birthday is February 13th, 1887, and the date of the passport being issued is August 25th, 1926, and it expires on August 24th, 1936. And I have this stamp. This is the Kathy Holden set again, and it's R.D. Swisher. And I thought, well, okay, that's an R. He can be for Rip. So I made his first name Ripland with 2 P's, David Swisher, just for the fun of it. But he goes by Uncle Rip, or sometimes Jack. Don't ask me why, since he doesn't have any Jack in his name. But anyway, thought that might be fun. Anyway, I'm going to put his signature on this signature line here. I think Uncle Rip is kind of flamboyant and eccentric. He likes kids a lot, and he comes to see his nieces and nephews as often as he can. So I don't know what color he would like to sign his name in. Maybe this bright blue. Let's see how this looks on something else. That's not bad. Okay, signature of bearer. Well, bring back my felt. I'll just sign him right in the middle of that. Not too bad. It doesn't look like a signature. It looks like a stamp. But anyway, that's the way it goes. That's that page. And this page, I wanted to repeat the stamp with the crow on it. It's kind of an emblem that's on the front, and repeat that over here. This is probably going to stamp and say post office on it when I do it, because this ink will do that. But that's okay. I just want the image on there, so mainly the crow. Well, I always manage to get some on the edge there. Okay, I'm just going to put that like there. Okay. That's not too bad. You can tell it's a post office stamp, but we'll just turn that page real fast and maybe nobody will notice. All right, that's that page. This page is the page that has the picture. And I have this picture as a copy of the actual picture, just a Xerox copy. This is one of my great-grandfathers. And I know that this is not the right shape or he shouldn't be wearing a hat in this picture. But I figure Uncle Rip is probably pretty difficult and insisted on wearing his hat. And the lady that was doing his passport that day just finally said, okay, fine, Mr. Swisher, we will use the picture with your hat. And he insisted that he wears his hat all the time, so even when he sleeps, I don't know about that. But anyway, she let him do it. And I like this picture of a man I never knew, but I knew his daughter. My grandma that I talk about sometimes. We're going to put him on this page. And like I said, this is the wrong shape for it. Okay. I'm going to take that page out so I get it kind of sort of centered. that's kind of going straight, maybe not. It's pretty good. Wipe the glue off. And on my passport, I keep referring to that, but it has some embossed information on there where I got the passport and stuff like that. But I thought on this one, I would just use something like that stamp again, maybe. Or even that one would probably work. I don't know what that says. I don't know. It's just kind of a official looking thing. So we'll just try that. And just put that like that. Okay. Was thinking maybe another signature on there, and maybe even his signature. Like he has to sign it to prove who he is. We'll use a different color ink this time just to do something different. I wish I had, I know, I have a line here somewhere I can put on there. This is a set. I got this at Tuesday morning when they were in business, but I don't remember what the brand of it is. Okay, I'm going to take that signature off again. And I just want to stamp a line on here. Okay. To put the signature on. Just seems like it would be more official that way. I like doing things like this. When I'm doing it, I'm thinking it's not that exciting for whoever's watching, but it's fun to make up the stories that go with it. And hopefully I can remember it. Probably not, knowing me. Okay, he's going to sign it right there. Doesn't he look like he'd just get into some mischief if he had a chance? My other grandmother used to say one of her ancestors, I think it was her grandfather, was a jolly man. And I always think about that because so many times those people in that time frame back in the late 1800s and early 1900s had such hard lives. They worked so hard that it might have been hard to be jolly sometimes. So I always liked that she said that about him. What I want to show you is these pages. I used a stencil, which I cut with a die that I have, which I've used before, just on a piece of political mail, actually, is what it is. But it's got a plastic type coating on it, so it holds up pretty well for stenciling. And I just put it on here randomly and just used my little brush, this little brush. Well, I'll show you how I did it. I kept back the center page as blank, and I thought I'd just do that on camera and show you how I did that part. You could use any kind of stencil you wanted to, just a swirl or something, whatever you chose to use would be fine, I'm sure. I just wanted it to have some design on it because the real deal has that embossed, like kind of like money has. It's not embossed, but it's printed in a way that it looks embossed. It's raised slightly. I'm making this one pretty dark, so maybe it's darker than the other ones I did. But it doesn't need to be real dark. It can just be kind of light. You want to be able to see what you've got on it on top of the stencil, but you still want to have some design showing. Or I do. I mean, that's the way I'm doing it. You can follow your heart on this and do it however you like. Okay, so then the other thing is, on these pages, I drew lines for the visa. It says visa up here, and then like you go into France and they stamp it, or they put a sticker on there or something on arrivals and departures. As I understand it, every page is for one country or one visit. And when you leave, you are supposed to get it stamped. It never worked that way when I was... my one trip to Europe, we didn't get all the stamps that we would have gotten, I don't guess, if everyone had stamped it. This is my makeshift way of using a light table. I'm using a rubber stamp as a prop, and this is a piece of picture frame glass that I put tape around the edge so I wouldn't injure myself. And then I have a little light right up there, hoping will show through this. And I'm going to use this ruler that's a bit longer. Use this to draw these lines on here. I'm using a Micron 01 pen on this. And I've already drawn the lines on the other side. I came down a ½ inch from the top and a ½ inch up from the bottom. And then I just kind of centered that line in the middle. It's about 2 3/8 inch up from the bottom, and a little less than that from the top, but close enough for me. So anyway, I'm going to use this to draw these lines, and I'm trying to trace it from the back, and we'll see how that goes. And this one goes all the way from side to side, and this one also does. Right there. And then the bottom, I'm going to turn it around so I can see it better. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Well, not great because the pen didn't mark that well, but that's just the way it's going to be. Okay, and this one is here, and it just goes between the top line and the bottom line. This ruler wants to slide around. I have the cork side up because I wanted it to be flat against the paper. And then this one. Okay. So that's how I did all of these pages. I didn't draw a line in the center because that's where it's going to be stitched. Put my makeshift setup back. Okay, that looks good. So I have got that page and those 2 pages. That looks pretty official. And then these 2 pages, that just has some basic information. So for right now, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp Visa on the top of these pages. Okay, these kind of have travel kinds of things on them. And this one says Visa right there. I'm going to take this whole stamp and put it on the block, and then I'm going to have it where I can just ink that part right there. Okay, I'm going to set that aside for a minute. This was a trial run I did, but it has Visa at the top and some stamps on it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I feel like that Visa may be a little bit too large, but maybe if I use a lighter color on it, it will be okay. I don't know how this would look. This is speckled egg. Since this is clear, I'm just going to do it this way so I can see what I'm inking and be able to stamp it on there. Okay. I'm going to do a trial run on this one because I just don't know if that's how I want it to be or not. Well, that could be better. I don't mind that color though, so I may just go ahead and use that. Just need to keep my ink on the part I want and not anywhere else. That's pretty good. All the pages that have these lines on it should have Visa at the top, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Here where I can see it a little better. And I'm just going to try to center it right there. Okay, not too bad. It's really big. It's a lot bigger than what was on the original one, but I'm just improvising with the stamps and other things that I have to make this work out. And see that I have a little stamp going on there that I didn't intend to have. Oh, there's one more there. But having lots of stamps and things on the inside is what makes it kind of interesting and fun. Okay, Visa. Apparently a visa is different from your passport. I think the visa comes from the country you're visiting as approval to enter the country. That's my understanding. We didn't, when we traveled, we didn't have to get any visas, but we have one that is from France that was attached when we went to France. And it's like a sticker that's on there, but it's that same kind of embossed kind of paper. Okay. And I was thinking I might just type up something for something like that to go in the book. This also in the book has arrival and departure here and there, and I don't know how I'm going to do that, so it may not have that on this one. I'm probably not going to sew this together right during the video because I think I'm going to want to add some additional stuff that would be easier to do without it being sewed in the book. And I'm probably putting way more pages in here than it really needs because I just am doing what mine had. But it probably doesn't need that many. But it would be extra space if you want to use this as a mini journal to jot down a few thoughts. It'd be especially fun for a travel journal, I think. As long as you don't get it mixed up with your real passport and confuse the officials. After seeing Visa stamped this many times, the word's starting to look like it's misspelled or something to me. Do you ever do that when you look at a word and you think, is that spelled right? Sometimes it's not. It's easy to make typos. Okay, this is the last one. Right there. Okay. Let's see what I've got here. The glue on the picture is making that curl up. What I'm going to do is, when I sew it in, then I'm going to trim this off even with the edge there. And I also want to put passport up there. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. I have this set of stencils. My friend Rachel gave me these. And they're kind of, I don't know, kind of modern or something. I don't know that they really go with the look of this. So I don't know if I want to use them or not. But I think the size wouldn't be too bad when you get it down to just that. And I could use gold paint to stencil that on there. But I'm having trouble committing to that just yet. I guess first he could go to Paris, and I may do 2 pages with Paris on there. This arrived stamp I used on that other one. I could do that. And just stamp that there. It kind of goes over on that side, so, you know, they don't always stamp where you think they should, so that's okay. And then I had some purple. This is Dusty Concord in Distress Oxide. And this is Watering Can and Archival ink. This is a Paris. We use it. That's what I used on the other one, so we'll do that again. I think it goes about like that. put that right there. Okay, that's good for that. And I may type up one of those stickers to put on there. I might just use part of that stamp for his departure. Take that off. I'm going to put it down here because there wasn't room up there. Okay, and then that's going to be for sticker that I'm going to type up for that. I think I want to put a postage stamp on here, kind of like it would be a seal for something. This is a British stamp, and it's already got a stamp on it, so maybe I'll put that on there for that. Except I think I do want something on there as an entry stamp. I had one that just had a circle on it. This one that says received on it. I guess you could say it was received into the country, but it might be stretching it. But then again, maybe not. I think I'll use some black on it, or dark gray. Okay, so he's in, and we'll put the stamp on. I really wish I had one of those old-fashioned date stamp things. I have one. I have this one, but it's modern, and it has like the 2000s on it. But it would be fun, I think, to have an antique one that you could stamp old dates on your stuff and make it look real and interesting. Okay, I like this little corner here that says paid 3, so he might be paying a tariff or something. Maybe I'll just do a red on that. This is Festive Berries. It's actually a pink color, but maybe it'll look red enough. There. Okay. And to get him out of there, maybe just this plain one here, and I could stick a date in the middle of it. And I think I'll use the purple again. I think what I can do is just not have, just ink a date, a month and a day, and leave off the year. That says March 15th. That's as good as any, I suppose. And I'll do it in black, dark. Let's see if I can do this without getting the date. I mean the year. I just want this. Oh, I did the wrong part. Oh well. He can't time travel because he was born in 1887. I'm just going to stick a piece of paper under that when I stamp it and keep it from being on there. Let's see, the date is there. This is what happens when you get into making up stories, and that doesn't look too bad. I don't have anything down here. I mean, you could use this to write, whatever you want to write down below or something. So he's in England, and he's done that. And I don't think I have any kind of English stamps at all. This little deal right here might be something good to stamp on there, since I'm just making it up as I go along. Just do purple again. Another thing we could do is use some of this type and just put some type on there, maybe with the signature. Just do that. I don't know how many more of these pages I'm going to do, because I think you get the idea. I may do some more of it later on if I decide to. And that ink is bleeding through on there too, so there's that. But that's going to be covered up, I think, with a sticker of some kind. I have these blobs of ink stuff, and I'm going to use just a little bit of that to add some speckles to some of these pages and the cover, I think. And I'm going to use the brown ground espresso on that. I don't want to have a whole lot of, like big coffee stain or something. I don't think so. I'm just going to use a little bit here and there, and maybe up there, and don't want it in a row, so maybe that's enough. I mean, I've got that right there, so we'll just add a little bit more to that. I will put pictures at the end as I normally do. This is the finished item, the finished passport, and I use gold paint to stamp that little swirl on there with, and it's not real dark, but it's stamped okay. I bound it with this cord, which is some I got at a thrift shop, and I used a 5-hole pamphlet stitch to sew it together, which means I punched 5 holes here, and then I started here. I came through and back and through and back and this way and then back the other way, so that it has stitches in each hole all the way up and down. I just felt like that would make a nice finish on that. And let's see, what else did I do? I stamped on this last page back here, and just some things that look like official signatures and things like that, just to make it look like it's a real passport. And I used my typewriter also in typing up some of this information, and that is the visa that I made to go there from France. And I think the rest of it is pretty much like it was, not too many other changes there. So anyway, that is our project this week, and I hope you enjoyed it and are inspired to make a passport of your own, because it's a lot of fun, and I think it's a neat thing to put in a journal. And this one, because I didn't go all the way through with all the stamps and things, there's a lot of space back here. If you just wanted to use it as a little additional writing space in your journal, it would be almost concealed writing places. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you leaving me comments and leaving me thumbs up. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.